Any questions on number 13? We have not done a problem like number 13 yet this year. So if number 13 was hard for you, that's because we haven't touched that concept. You can do this with quad formula. You could move the 14 over to the other side and you could do A equals 7, B equals 0, and C equals negative 14. That'll always work for you. That's your Camry. It's in your garage. You got it. It always starts up, right? Okay, but if you want to move a little faster and a little sleeker, you can start your Ferrari, which I just said that because did anyone watch Whistling Diesel? None of you watch Whistling. Okay. If you're bored, you do. If you're bored this weekend, just YouTube Whistling Diesel and then you'll thank me later. Okay, anyway, so I like to do what's called solve by square roots. My family, we're car people. And Whistling Diesel, he takes like the most expensive clothes, vehicles, all kinds of stuff, and he just ruins them. It's really hard to watch, but it's hilarious. Anyway, so solve by square roots. I can get away with solving by square roots on this one because there's no B term. You guys see what I mean by that? There's the A term with the P squared. There's the C term with the 14, but there's no middle one. So you're like, just get to the point. Let's just solve it. Divide by 7. P squared equals 2. Square root. P equals plus or minus the square root of 2. Done. Yeah. Now you would have gotten plus or minus the square root of 2 with quad formula. You would have gotten 0 plus or minus square root 2 over 1. And then you would just not put the 0 plus or minus and you wouldn't put the 1. But anyway, okay, now this guy does have a B term. Why am I doing that one? Okay, just got a little jump on Monday. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. All right, 15. 5i, I'm just going for it apparently. 5i times 3i is 15i squared. And then, how are you? Okay. And then distribute negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6. Negative 2 times 3i minus 6i. Okay. If the letter in this problem was anything other than I, you would be done. If it was an X, you would be done. If it was a smiley face, you would be done. But I is special. And what you need to know is one little fact for these problems. We're going to put it in a box over here. I squared equals negative 1. I has that one little special property. It's not actually a variable, it's a number. And so you need to be on the lookout for any I squareds. And what you're going to do is you're going to take any I squareds and you're going to change them to negative 1s. So this becomes negative 15 plus 6 minus 6i. And then combine those, negative 9 minus 6i. Now it's done. I know it's been a minute for that, but we need to make sure we know how to do this. Okay, flip to the domain and range side, please. I like my compact little table over here. Good. You guys got it? Do you give me a second? It's no problem. Thank you. Okay. We're getting close to being done with these. All right, so domain is X. I'm gonna go all the way over here. This is the farthest spot to the left. Then I'm gonna go, okay, graph exists here, graph exists here, exists all the way to here. But I notice in this spot, the farthest most right spot, it's open. So I'm gonna put an exaggerated open circle there on my x-axis. So this is my far left, this is my far right. -4 to 3. X because it's domain. Closed on this side because it actually touched, and open on that side. Okay. Range, bottom to top. Bottom is down here. Oh, but it's open. I just messed that up. Okay, open circle. Travel up, 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 up. Top point is here. That's also open. Open at the very bottom, open at the very top. This one goes from -5 to 5. It's the Y, and they're both open. Is it a function? No. X. Okay, so this is gonna go forever. So I know I'm gonna cover everything on the X, both directions. That's easy. I like it. But I'm not gonna cover everything in both directions on the Y. I'm gonna go up forever. And then the bottom of this graph is here. Y is greater than or equal to -3. Is it a function? Yes. Is it continuous? Yes. Alrighty, guys, your packets are done for the day. You can put those away. Listen. Oh, you want stamps? Oh, thank you. I want that too. Anyone else from my access class? Actually, anybody have this early dismissal form that you'd like to give me before your short-term memory forgets? It does, you do not have to be in my access. You can, anyone can give it to me. It says by the 30th, I believe. I'll turn them in, I promise. Did I skip you? Did I just go around the table the wrong way? I'm so sorry. It must be Friday. Thank you, sweetheart. I'm sorry about that. Okay, I have two things to show you before we start the lesson for today. First is this, if you could, here, hold on, I'll shrink it for you. I mean, not shrink it, I'll make it bigger. I'll shrink the side and make it bigger. Okay. So, your next quiz is Tuesday. You guys can read this, please. It's extremely important. Also, might be too low for you guys in the back. Okay. Your next quiz is Tuesday. No notes and calculators again. The quiz will be last 10 minutes. Okay. Solving a quadratic equation. So, like the warm up before that we did, This one, I'm just gonna tell you, is factorable, but you don't have to factor. If you're a quad formula lover, you can definitely go for that. However, if you're a quad formula lover and you have no notes, then you probably should make sure you do notes before the quiz. So that's up to you. But this one is, you do not need to do quad formula. It is factorable. Does that make sense? Okay. Stating whether or not a graph is a function and finding domain and range. That's exactly what we just did in the warm-ups. It's going to look just like that. There's going to be a graph. You're going to say domain, you're going to say your range, and say whether or not it's a function. The continuous business is not on there. It's just domain, range, and yes or no if it's a function. Okay? And then graphing and identifying features of a rational function. We practiced this the other day. That's the one with the 1 over x plus 7 or something like that. We're going to say, okay, vertical and identifying features will be vertical asymptote at -7, horizontal asymptote at 0, domain, everything except for -7, range, everything except 0. You're going to dash in the asymptotes and then estimate the curve. Do you remember that? We practiced that in number 33, I believe. Okay. Do you guys know what all of those things are? Okay, now, the homework, I just had you put your packets away, but the homework is the quiz 2 review. Let me show it to you up here. Okay. All right. This is the homework. I'm not going to stamp it on Monday, but I don't suggest that you ignore it because I really like to see questions. Monday will be my last day to be able to answer questions on it. So I would just say do it, do as much as you can, just so that you're able to ask me anything you need to ask me. Do these make sense? Do you know what to do here? Vertical asymptote, horizontal asymptote, domain and range sketch. Try to do these without a calculator, just for the practice for the quiz. Okay, then these 4 there's 2 solved by factorings, 2 solved by taking square roots. You guys remember that from the warm-ups? So you're going to divide and then square root both sides. We just did that in number 11, I believe. Was it 13? It was 13, wasn't it? Okay. And 2 quad formulas. And then state whether or not it's a function, find the domain and range. Do you guys notice the topics I chose for the quiz 2 review? They're the same as the quiz topics. Okay, and then also the answers are back here for your checking purposes. All right. Now, I'll show you my joke for the day. You could just try to enjoy it. Today we're going to do another math 2 review. It is solving for points of intersection. Do you guys remember that very first day of school, I assigned you something called the math 1 and 2 review, and there were 3 problems in there. One was equal values method, one was substitution, and one was elimination. Yeah, today we're going to work on equal values method, but with squareds in there. And here's the real truth, and I can say this on the video with utmost confidence. Every single math teacher at the school does different stuff. So I don't know if your teacher did them or not. Okay, but it's going to be okay. Because we're going to do equal values method, and then we're going to get something to either factor or quad formula. We can do all the pieces of it. I just want to remind you how to put it together. So I'm going to do number 63. And then you guys are going to do the same exact thing in number 64 in your groups. And then we're going to do very quick notes on polynomials because there's a homework problem coming up. It's going to ask you whether or not something's a polynomial, and you need to know what the definition of that is. And then homework is the quiz 2 review worksheet due Tuesday again because I want to take questions on Monday. And here's my joke. It says, dear teacher, I talked to everyone so moving next evening. Basically me in high school. I'm so sorry to my teachers that it's chatty. That's why I became a teacher, that I could talk all day. none of that's actually true. I mean, the talking in high school part, yes, but I did not become a teacher so I could talk all day. Every like first 2 weeks of school, my voice is like, I don't talk all summer like this, and then also I have your math test scores and I sent them to the printer, but the printer is jammed in the teacher's lounge. I even got here early. Mhm. So I'll have those on Monday for sure. Even if I have to walk really far across campus to a different printer, I'll get. All right. First question. What kind of equations are these? I'll accept two answers. What kind of equations are these two? Quadratic, or what's the other word that starts with a P? Oh, actually, they are polynomials. Okay, right, there's three answers. Okay, quadratic, polynomial, and I heard it, parabola. Okay, these are parabolas. When I say the words find points of intersection, I want you to imagine two parabolas, whatever they're doing. Usually this one's upward facing like a smiley. This one's got the negative in front of it. So it's a downward one, which is like a frowny. And where they cross, the answers we're trying to find are coordinates where they cross each other. I'm never ever going to do this again, but just this one moment, I'm going to rewrite this. I'm going to rewrite that. I'm never going to do that again. I'm hoping that every time that you guys see me write f of x, you realize that can be interchanged with y. G of x can be interchanged with y. Anything of x can be interchanged with y. It's just that why do we choose the f and g? We do that because sometimes we work with more than one. This is an excellent example of that. And that first one, its name is f of x, like Frank of x. And then the second one is g, like Gerald of x. It's just their names. In the next one, the one that you guys do in 64, they're both f of x. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything. They could be Frank and Fred. Okay, anyway, why did I do this? Because I want you to see that because they both equal y, they can equal each other. So that's equal values method. Equal values method. If they both equal y, then they equal each other. Anybody in this class have me for math one? Probably have that like ringing in your head from me saying it in math one a bunch of times. Okay, now what we have is we have a quadratic equation. It's just like, this guy here, or this guy here, or this guy here. It's just that there's terms, combinable terms on both sides. So I need to get everything to one side. So I'm going to move all of this stuff over here, but this is going to be a very specific move. I want you guys to try to keep the x squared term positive. If I took everything and moved it over to the right, I'd have negative 4x squared. I don't want that. I want to move everything to the left, so I have positive 4x squared. You guys see what I mean? Okay, so I'm going to go plus 2x squared plus x minus 30. Undo, undo, undo. Same thing to the other side, plus 2x squared plus x minus 30. Cancel, cancel, cancel. So now I have 4x squared minus 4x minus 24 equals 0. Okay. Now I saw well, on the warm-up, some of you guys factored out a 7 on number 13, which is totally legal, totally fine to do. It's just that I'm lazy, so I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to factor in an equation. You can factor, I mean, I'm going to factor, but I'm not going to factor a GCF in an equation. What I'm going to do is divide. Why is that legal in an equation, but it's not legal in an expression? Why do I have to put that 4 in the front when I'm just factoring? And that's because 0 divided by 4 is 0. So I'm allowed to do it because I have this side over here where I can actually divide both sides and then have 0. So x squared minus x minus 6 equals 0. On these, you want to try to factor first. If you had to do quad formula on one of these, it would be really awful. And the reason is because we need to plug the answers back in to get the y's. And if I had to plug quad formula answers back into one of these to get y's, I might cry. So, giant hint, they're probably going to be factorable. Okay, moment of truth. Do you know your multiplication tables? Negative 3 and 2. What's wrong? Oh, yeah. It's totally fine. The diamond is completely unnecessary if you understand the box. Okay. Yeah, welcome to Math 3. Here's the fun information for you. This is not even done, right? Find points of intersection. I found x's. It asked me to find points. Yeah. So whenever you guys do a system, yeah, you're like, no, I just realized what she wanted. So you want to pick the one of these that's easier. I think this one's easier, personally. I don't know, they're both kind of terrible. Okay, I'm gonna do this with no calculator. I want to do this, actually, I want to show a step in here for a reason. A lot of you guys on that first day were multiplying this and then squaring it. This shouldn't be 2 times 9. So you need to square first. So I'm gonna write that extra step in there. So I have 18 minus 15 is 3 plus 6 is 9. And then your final answer for this should be a coordinate. X is 3, Y is 9. Okay, over here, -2 times -2 is +4. So 2 times 4 plus 10 plus 6. 8 plus 10 is 18 plus 6 is 24. Okay, when you're situated, just put your pencil down. I'm going to show you a visual of this on Desmos. You don't have to write the next problem yet. Just sure you got it. I gave you guys an easier one to do on your own, but okay. Real quick, I graphed these two on Desmos. Here's the 2x squared minus 5x plus 6 is the red one. The blue one is the negative 2x squared minus x plus 30. And then click there, click there. This is me checking my answers to make sure that I did the problem correctly. And I also wanted to provide you with a visual of what you were doing. You have a upward facing parabola, downward facing parabola, and you're finding the points of intersection. So you're finding the places where they cross. Does that make sense? You don't love it, I can tell from your demeanor, but it doesn't, I mean, it's not a quick process, I'll say. She's not a quick problem, but okay. I want you guys to take minutes. You need it. I don't know if you'll need a full 10 minutes. And do this one. Wait, notice I provided you with the answers at the bottom. Your job is to do all of the math that gets you to those answers. And you definitely should work in your group and talk about it as you go. Why aren't you talking? Anyone stuck? Okay. Yeah. So V squared is 9. -3 plus 5 is 2. You just have to do the math. 1 times 4 plus 5 is 2. And then look at my answers at the bottom. 3, 2, 1. Oh. Mhm.
How do you know when I'm such
You have to plug them in separate.
Yeah, but if I put this one and then this one and this one and this one, or tough, like, I just plug in both of the same way.
Just pick the one with the positive X squared. It'll be easier.
All right.
But it would work either way.
All right.
Anyone else need- Yes. Yes, I will say, I'm very lucky. No, you'll be able to. Perfect. Trust me, I do. Anyone need me? I've learned everything else except for this. You will be doing sign apply, but not absolute value. Good. Oh, see. That means you like my really, La calculadora. Oh. And la biblioteca.
Wait,
Calculators in the library.
One.
That's the one sentence I can do. Oh, except una cerveza por favor. I got that one. Donde está el baño? Multilingual people. Anyway, it looks like everybody's set. Okay, we have one more thing to do. Let me unfree. Okay, real quick. This is next period, so don't write here. It was tiny, so I wanted to fit 3 on one page. Okay. This is the last thing for the day. That's how all my circles look anyway. Yeah, just try to make a circle and then it'll look like. Do you know the SpongeBob episode where SpongeBob draws a circle and it's like he draws that perfect face and then he like erases the whole thing? Anyone? Well, it's like he's at art school and then he makes like a perfect thing and then and Squidward's the teacher and he makes Squidward really mad and then Squidward tries to make that like perfect sculpture and then the art dealer comes and then it like crumbles everywhere.
I don't remember.
Okay, that's your homework. Other part of your homework is to go watch that.
I can't make any
Okay, if you're not gonna watch that one, you have to watch the one where Squidward tries his first Krabby Patty, because that's my favorite.
I remember that one.
Where Squidward's teeth come out like this, like they take like the little tiny bit of it. Yeah. It's like,
My dad was allowed to watch it for a while.
yeah, it's, hey. That was Kevin, and he ignored me because he knows I'm mad.
Who?
Kevin.
I can go out there and get him.
No, he'll respond to my text.
Oh.
No, I'm not really that mad. Jeez, guys, not like that. No, I was scheduled to work the football game, and I live in Napa, and I drove separately and everything.
You live in Napa?
Yeah.
Wait, this football game?
Yeah.
What is a scrimmage?
I know, it's canceled.
Oh, it got canceled?
Yeah, but no one told me, and I like came this morning all ready to do thing, and
That's a shame.
I got not seeing, I was hoping that by yelling at him out the door, he would approach and we could get some answers, but he noticed my need and chose to walk straight by on purpose.
I think I had some words for him.
All right, guys, so let's finish up. My bad. Okay. Polynomials. There's a homework question coming that's going to ask you whether or not something's a polynomial and why. And so I need to make sure that you know what polynomials are. Expressions made of terms Okay, polynomials. Expressions made of terms where the exponents are positive whole numbers. Okay, sometimes it's hard for us to identify positive whole number exponents. You're like, Mrs. Habit, I can identify a positive whole number exponent, except for sometimes with exponents, it's like, it's challenging to see it. Okay, just trust me. Okay, so no negative exponents. Okay, you're like, we did not need to write that. You just told me the exponents had to be positive whole numbers. I know. Okay, no variable exponents. Why would a variable exponent not work? Because you don't know if it's positive or negative. You're not sure. You don't have full evidence that it's positive, so that's not it. No square roots, or any roots for that matter. If you remember from that, I don't know, again, this might be something your math teacher skips. But roots are actually fraction exponents. So like the square root of 3x is 3x to the 1.5 power. Does anybody, does that sound familiar? Like you might have spent 3 seconds on it. I don't really know what they do and what they don't do anymore. Okay, and then last one, no variables in the denominator because a variable in the denominator is actually a negative exponent. Can you guys look at f real quick? See, f is 1 over x squared. That's the same thing as x to the negative 2. And you probably haven't touched that since math 1. Okay, so yeah, this one, we're gonna go over this next week again, the exponent rules, but this one, is it a polynomial? Everything have positive whole number exponents. Yes, this one is a polynomial. Is this one a polynomial? Yes. Okay. Yeah. It says no negative exponents. It doesn't say anything about negatives. It just says no negative exponents. This is why we're going over it. Okay. This one. Yes. What is the exponent on this guy that we're just too lazy to write? 1. Perfect. And it's a positive whole number. Square root? No. Variable in the exponent? No. Variable in the denominator? No. And I am done.